Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am the Lonesome Dungeon Master, and this is my solo AD&D campaign titled No Regret in Ket. Today we're going to be going into episode 23, and the adventurers are going to sort of clean up some stuff at the inn, which they're currently in the inn in Lorabas, the Inn of the Brazen Monkey. They're going to clean up some of that stuff, and then they're going to head out again back to the dungeons of Taroosh, because it has been almost a week and a half since they've been to the dungeons of Taroosh, and they're interested to find out what the orcs have been up to in their absence, if there's been any changes. Also, if people are getting wind of the fact that they've been there and are looking for treasures, whether or not other adventuring parties are making their way there. They did run into the elves with Dane Swiftbow before, and so that creates a sort of a desire to get back quicker, so that all the treasures aren't cleared out by the time they get back there. So with that being said, there's a few things we need to sort of take care of today before we actually get going. So we're going to open up. Today is oh yeah, I should have opened up the calendar first. Today is Earth Day. So God's Day. Jizna did her rounds and did her work. Zawar had cast Find Familiar, which didn't work out. It was kind of dejected. They rested overnight. The next day they went back into the inn, and and Jizna was sort of accosted by Ishak, an assassin sent to kill her. And then as at that point that they decided tomorrow we're going to head back to the dungeons of Taroosh. So we are now going to be in the morning of the 13th of Earth Day, and we're going to head back out to the dungeons of Taroosh. And the last time we were in Taroosh was Moon Day the 3rd. So it's been a week, pretty much a week and a half since we were there, as I was saying. But there are a few things that we want to take care of before we leave. No rush here. Let's, on the 13th, we'll decide sort of like, wanting to get used out of my World of Greyhawk books from the box set. We're going to start off with the weather table today. And it's going to be about the high, because it's flock time. The high is going to be about 70. It's 72. I rolled it up, so the high will be 72, which is decently warm. Not t-shirt. Well, it could be t-shirt weather depending on who you are. But not frigidly cold, but also not overly hot quite yet. So about 72 degrees today. Sky conditions is 03. Flock time, clear. Very good. So it's clear. I guess that means that there's going to be no precipitation if the sky is clear. And so we're all good. It's going to be a good day. Jizna takes that as sort of a good omen for herself and for her, her health and her ability to stay alive in the next little while. After her disturbing interaction with Ishak the other day. So a few things we want to take care of other than that. So Zawar was going to talk to Nushane. Nushane often spends his time in the inn talking to people, because he's very interested in that kind of stuff, and he got brought up to speed about the Shvem people and the stuff that they found out about the Shvem people, and about they came, their ancestors came from the Olman Empire far to the south, and he's interested in sort of how their star charts may be different than the star charts that he's using. It's coming from the Backloonish culture, and perhaps they're different in a very important way, maybe or maybe not. So he's interested in finding out information on any Schwem star charts or documents around the sky and the planetary movements, as well as any sort of mechanical information, mechanical paraphernalia that they may find, because he's interested in building a new observatory at the top of the tower in General Hadar's keep. So he's going to be investing in that as well. So he wants to get as much information as he can. So he's interested in any sort of stuff that the group can bring back around that. So that's going to be one of our goals today. You'll recall yesterday too in the inn, our adventurers were talking to the silk merchant, and she was interested in spiders. She's going to pay handsomely for any sort of spiders that, spider carcasses that they bring out, so she can, get their webbing to build, create some silk. So, so she is a Chico Shira. She's from Karatur. She's making her way up here to the west, up to Ekbir. She's going to stay in Ket for a week, and then she's going to move on. But presumably when she goes to Ekbir, eventually she'll turn around and come back through Ket again. So if we miss her and don't get back to her within a week, she'll probably come back at some point in the future. We don't know how long she's going to stay on this sort of journey across the Floness this time, but no rush. But we're on the lookout for spiders and spider carcasses, because she's willing to be 150 gold pieces. There's 120 gold pieces per large spider and 240, I believe. Did I say that? Did she say that? I say that. Okay. Where was she, or what did she say? No. I didn't. I think I wrote it down. I did write it down in the. Anyways, I will go back to it and look it up. I think I wrote it down in like the campaign growth, but I believe it's 140 and then 280. 140 for large spiders and 280 for a giant spider. So I mean, that's, our team needs gold pieces in order to, when they get the experience, they need the gold pieces to pay for our leveling up. Also, I want to buy new equipment and outfit themselves in that way. So, but Jizna wanted to speak to, because she was a little, a little put off and a little upset after yesterday when she got, accosted by the assassin Ishak. And so she wanted to talk to her superior, which is technically not her superior, but she's the highest ranking cleric in Lorabas, and her name is Funda. She's a cleric of Al-Akbar, which is a different deity, but she oversees the town of Lorabas. She's out of Hadar's keep. She has a shrine in there that she uses herself, but down in Lorabas there's a chapel where anybody can come and pray to or ask for help from any other religion or any clerics that are in town. So she wants to talk to Funda about yesterday, because she's upset that she's been living her life feeling like Istas, she uses the words Istas wills it a lot. Istas wills it. And so whenever something randomly happens that she wasn't expecting, she's like, well, that's because Istas wills it. And so she comes to talk to Funda, and Funda says, well, you know what? here's the deal. Jizna, you're young, okay? You're approaching, as of right now, like randomly, you're thinking about things, choices to make, you randomly make those decisions. And then whenever something happens to you, you say, well, that's what Istis wants. But that's, that's in sort of like somebody who's giving advice or a mentor way. She's like, well, that's, it's because you're young. You've been acting like randomly and chaotically on your decisions and things that you're going to make. It would not have been a good decision. She's worried about she should have gotten a fight with Ishak yesterday because this is what Istis wanted. It's not necessarily what Istis wanted. It's just what happened. And so as a young person, you're expecting, or she is, Jizna is anyways, she's expecting that she's behaving in a random way and quite sort of chaotically, and it's not in keeping with Istis tenets, right? Istis is a neutral deity. And so things are going to happen. And she tells her about Istis is, the book of fate. It has everybody's story in it and what happens to them. And as you age, you're going to realize, she says, that you shouldn't be seeking your own fate or acting erratically. Just go about your life. Your fate's written in the book of fate, and it's going to happen. You can't go about your life worrying about what your fate is, when you're going to die, if this was willed. You have to just live your life to the best of your ability and the way that you want to do it, the way that you want to live life. It's a choice. You choose your life. You make your decisions. And then this is what happens. This is what comes, being more mature. She's like, I don't want to be pedantic, but I think I think you need to learn this, is that you'll come to realize that you have to make the decisions at every turn. Istis is not going to make the decisions for you. Just don't let it rule your life. It's okay to give, worship to the Lady of Fate and then, come up with rationales and when things happen, but don't go out seeking your own fate or seeking your own death or just, making decisions randomly based on what you think Istis might want or what she wills. So I can tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to talk to Mehmet. We're going to keep an eye out for this Ishak person because we can't have that kind of behavior in our town. We don't want that in our town. And then we'll likely sort of solidify security around town because things have been happening. There was this random fire. There's this Malloy fella who's been stealing from people, and now this assassin shows up looking for you. We just can't have people. This isn't a large city, okay? We can't have people showing up here and doing. We need security to be a little more tight. So I'm gonna talk to him, and so the gates are gonna be locked at sundown every day. So if you don't make it back to town by sundown, you're gonna need to camp outside. Do your best to make it back before sundown if you would like to be in town that day. Okay? So that's sort of the advice that Funda gives Jizna. So Funda's like a middle-aged woman. She's I guess she's in her 50s, and she has a real sort of presence about her. So Jizna's gonna take that to heart, and then she's gonna decide. She's gonna do her best to decide her own fate and make her own choices now, because she knows her team is depending on her for a lot of, her wisdom. Okay, so that's done. Now what we want to do, here's the deal. Farouk, he's very excited, as we all are, is that he sort of upped his armor, give him some more protection. But because of that, his movement rate has moved from like a 9. Well, his movement rate, because he's also like Farouk is also encumbered. So he has encumbrance right now is 935, and that's a 6 foot. It's a very heavy encumbrance. That's 6. That's going to slow him down quite a bit. So what we're going to do, so Mamala has iron spikes as well. Just trying to be a little more efficient here. So we're going to get rid of the iron spikes. This is going to get him 100 back. Or he'll leave the high iron spikes in the room, I guess. Yeah, so that'll give him 100 back. Which means he'll be at he'll be at 835. So he's still at a heavy, so he'll be at a movement rate of 9. But they also don't have a lot of room to carry treasure. It's going to slow them down even more. A movement rate of 9. I believe, I think I had it here. Overland movement. A movement rate of 9. Normal terrain, you move 12 miles in a day. We're 15 miles from the Dungeons of Taroosh. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So that's more than a day now to get there. We used to get there at the very end of the day, come in at night. So now we're gonna have to sleep overnight before we move on to the Dungeons of Taroosh. We don't want to force march. Force march at this point it's not worth it. We're not being chased. That being said, though, what are we gonna do about the the encumbrance and all this wonderful treasure that we're expecting to bring back with us? Well, that can be taken care of. We do have some money, so I feel like Farouk is gonna buy. Farouk's got money, right? Yeah, Farouk has four 401 gold pieces. So, what are we gonna do? Farouk is gonna buy a a mule, which is 20 gold pieces. Mule, 20 gold pieces. And that's going to take us down to 381. Yeah. So we got rid of 100, so that's at 835 now, right? And then we got rid of 20 gold pieces, which is, gets us down to 815. He's feeling rather spry. Okay, so he's got the mule. What? Are we going to bring the mule into the dungeon? No, we're not going to bring the mule into the dungeon. So what we need to do now is we need to hire a link boy. I believe that's in the Dungeon Master's Guide. And Link Boy is going to hang out with the mule to make sure the mule doesn't run away or the mule doesn't get killed. But the Link Boy isn't necessarily a warrior. So Mumala is going to buy a hunting dog to protect the Link Boy. This is what happens when you start getting money and you start wanting to spend your money to get more money. So, that being said, what's a guard dog, really? 25 gold pieces for a guard dog. So Mumal is going to buy a guard dog. That's 25 gold pieces. Right. 18, 7, 493. Okay. Guard dog. Okay. Just doing all this admin work before we get going. Hirelings. Bear Porter. Okay. Link Boy, Torture Lantern Bearer. They're often youngsters, but mature men also serve. Pack Handler. Okay, so we want the Pack Handler. $30 silver pieces a month. Okay, we'll hire the Pack Handler for a month. That'll be 19. We'll just split it between us. So he'll get rid of all his silver pieces. He'll have, so it's 9, 14, 25, 30. Okay. So now we have a Link Boy. He's not going to be expected to fight, so he'll be a 0 level human. So I'll give him a spear. And the Link Boy so 1 to 4, we'll see what his heritage is. 2, Sul. 12, Pavis. Pavis the Link Boy. We'll have to clean this up later when we get back, but Pavis the Link Boy. So there we go. We got a link boy, we got a mule, we got a guard dog, and we're good to go. We don't really need to feed them yet because, I don't know, we have the iron rations. We'll see how quickly we come back. Anyways, the pack animal is probably not going to slow us down because we're at 9. So the weather is good today. And we're going to make our way out to the Dungeons of Taroosh. We're all ready to go. Okay, so it's a hilly region. We have to make remember when we were younger and we would play Dungeons and Dragons weekly or like all weekend or whatever, you had everything memorized and you didn't really have a lot to go in your headspace other than maybe going to school and stuff, and social things, but not super obligation. So you could memorize all this stuff. And now, you take a couple of months off, you take a couple of weeks off, and all of a sudden you have to keep looking things up in the book again. You know what? Getting old. Anyways, we're there. Okay. Technique Hills, we will have a noonday and a night encounter and a pre-dawn encounter. So we do have, we have to check 3 times. Okay, noonday. We're leaving Lorabas at in the morning. Say about 9 a.m. They had to talk and clear up some things. 9 a.m. They're leaving Lorabas. Clear day. So then we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 15. We can travel, when did we say, 12 in a day? So we can get to about here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So noon would be 1, 2 would here. That would be the evening. And we're gonna camp out there. Okay, so we're gonna make a encounter roll here. And it is not really well patrolled. Uninhabited wilderness. So 1 in 10. 1 in 10. So we got 1, 2 here. We're in these hills right here, just past the lake. About 3 miles from the little lake there, where the fishing boats are. And right away, we get a random encounter. Wow. We have not had, we haven't had a wilderness random encounter yet. This, it's noon. It's noon. All right. Time to pull out, hills. We're in the hills. These aren't actual. They're not hill regions. We're in Ket, right? Ket and apparently. Okay, we're in Ket. We have a random encounter. Here's the thing. I've been, chiding myself for not taking any real risks, avoiding a lot of stuff. I think that's how you have that's how you survive and have long-standing campaigns. But I feel like I was thinking to myself today, when we get to the dungeon, I'm going to be riskier. I'm going to be more aggressive because Mumala's aggressive. Farouk has new armor. He's feeling really aggressive. So I was thinking that, but now we have a random encounter in the wilderness. Ket, here we go. There's a lot of I think we're pretty good here. If we're for over 46, it's standard encounter tables. But anything else is like, it's people. Okay. It's like, oh, we haven't seen anybody in our travels to the Dungeons of Taroosh yet. Maybe people are getting wind of this, and they're 29. So it's not going to be the regular one. That's good news. I think it's good news. So cat 29, men, nomads. Okay. Nomadic peoples in the wilderness. If they're nomads, there's not going to be like hundreds of them. I can't imagine. Unless the entire tribe is moving. Interesting. Men, bandits, brigands, buccaneer, caveman, dervish, merchant, pilgrim, and nomads. Nomads are bands of desert or steppes plains dwellers who roam freely about herding and hunting. They surprise on a 1 to 4 due to their ability to use terrain to conceal themselves. Nomads will have a higher level of fighters in addition to their indicated numbers. As do dervishes, they have normal possibilities. Right. The leader of a band of nomads will be a fighter. Wow. Steppes nomads. So this is interesting. So there are nomadic people around here. Hadar's we have to survive this. Hadar's gonna want to know where these nomads are. You have to figure out who they are. This is an unexpected turn of events. Okay. Nomad, rare. Number appearing 30 to 300. Okay. Okay. I've been using my D10s the whole time. Okay. Okay. So 75. So I'm going to say there's there are 175 nomads. For every 50 nomads, there is a 15% chance there will be a cleric with the group. Okay, so see 3. Is that a cumulative though? Okay. 0.7. That is there's a cleric. Wow, okay. Might as well get the notes out here. At noon on this day, there are 175 nomads. Plains nomads. Okay. So there is a seventh level cleric. That's interesting. There is 15% chance of magic user. Nope, no magic user. Okay. Okay, regardless of the results of the above, there will always be 2 clerics with 3rd level and a 4th level magic user with a band of nomads. Oh, okay. Cleric 3rd level times 2. Magic user MU 4th level. Wow, this is like the town of Lorabas on its own. Not the town, but if nomads are encountered in their lair, percent in lair. So 15%. Otherwise, they're just moving along. Nope. Okay. So they're not in the lair. They're actually moving, rumbling along. Okay. The leader of a band of nomads will be a fighter of 8th, 9th, or 10th level. 8th if over 150, 9th if 150. 9th level fighter. He's the leader. Okay. Nomads have higher level fighters. Will have higher level fighters in addition to their indicated number, as do dervishes. An additional 3rd level fighter, 4th level fighter, 5th. Okay. 3, 4, and 5th level fighters. Nomads will typically withdraw from a force which inflicts over 25% of casualties. The enemy appears to be able to continue stout resistance. Nomads will also feign retreat in order to lure an enemy into ambush. They are 75% likely to capture weaker groups, but they are 90% likely to parlay with parties of near equal strength. We're gonna this is fantastic. Okay, there are the surprise on a 1 to 4 due to their ability to use terrain to conceal themselves. But it's a large group. I'm not sure how they can conceal themselves in the hills. Unless they have like maybe we're running into sort of like the vanguard of the group. And I'm gonna put them at let me say 1 to 10 of them are like the vanguard. They're like scouts. 5. Okay, so there are 5 nomads ahead of the group. I mean, we can't outrun them, I doubt, because they're gonna be on mounts. Okay. So 50 and under is light warhorse, composite bow sword. 70, 80, 90 to 100. 31. So light warhorse, leather armor, composite bow sword. So I'm gonna roll 1 to 6 to see which one of these fighters is controlling these people. 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6. Okay, a 4th level fighter. Light warhorse. Leather armor. Wand by weapon. Leather armor. Bow. And a sword. And the other guys with them are going to be 1 to 6 hit points. Maybe got a little lucky here. I don't know. Maybe we might not have gotten lucky, but well, so there's 5 of them. So there's 4, 6, 5, 4 first level fighters. 4, 5, 2, and 6 hit points. Interesting. We're gonna have to set this thing up. It's been a while, so we'll come back and I guess we'll do another one. We never actually get to the dungeons today. I have to set up this this advanced scouting party for the for the nomads in the plains. This is interesting though. This is gonna like build the sort of build the lore of this hex and ket of Lorabas and the surrounding areas. And maybe they've had interactions with orcs. Maybe they've had interactions with elves. So they might be they're probably chaotic in nature, but they might be okay. Men. Dervish. Alignment. Lawful good. They're lawful good. Or neutral. This might turn out okay, but it might not. So let's, I mean, we're 45 minutes, 50 minutes in now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause here for now. In the next session, we're going to open up with an interaction with the nomads. And hopefully, like, we have a good rapport with them. And then we can get on to the dungeons of Taroosh once again. But so I was going to say, too, and I never got around to saying, so should we bring it out now? We have a few minutes left because I'm not starting this encounter quite yet, or this session. So as far as the random encounters go, like in the dungeons, and the random treasures that go in the dungeons, I think, you know, the random dungeon generation it's quite, I feel it to be quite limiting in a way. You know, level 1, we only have like certain types of treasure available. We always end up with like certain silver pieces and some silver pieces and some electrum pieces, but not a lot of stuff, not varied stuff. And the same thing with the creatures. They're just on like the D100 or the D20 chart for the first level things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a book from Dungeons and Dragons, not advanced. I'm going to take the Monster and Treasure assortment, because it's great. I think it's pretty great. I think when you find treasure, it tells you what is contained in it, what it's guarded by, if it's hidden by or in something. And then they have first level encounters. They have 100 encounters. And each of the counters have hit points of the creatures, has number of attacks. You know, this is a regular Dungeons and Dragons, but you know, there are certain things on here, right? So you look at berserkers on here. You know, it's just it lays it out for you. You don't have to go digging for it. And I think that's interesting. But also when you get to certain other people, let's say you get, there's one in here that has like a conjurer, right? So it has like 1 to 4 conjurers. Here's their hit points, number of attacks, spells, 15% chance of having some magic item other than a sword or miscellaneous weapon. So that's how we can sort of actually have an opportunity to get magic or treasure that's interesting. Yeah, and so like some wars have like certain percentage chance of having a magical weapon. But then I think the interesting thing too is like when we get to the treasure allotments, you just roll it on D100 and it tells you sort of like what you have. Of course, it's still stuff like gold pieces, silver pieces, copper pieces, blah, blah, blah. But on here, there's potions, there's magic weapons, and scrolls, which we don't typically find in the random dungeon generation in the back of the Dungeon Master's Guide. So I think this will be a little more varied. So I'm excited to bring this into use when we gets into the dungeons. But that's getting ahead of ourselves. Right now we have to deal with this random encounter in the wilderness with 175 nomads. Although the Vanguard's just 5 nomads, it's probably going to be a little more, well, it will definitely be a little more manageable than an entire troop of 175 people. However, I think it's really interesting. I think it sort of breathed life into the hex. Sooner or later, we're going to get a random encounter. This is, like I said, a good time to end it. Thank you for watching. Always looking forward to comments on these videos to continue the conversation. Like this video if you liked it. And then if you want to subscribe to the channel, that would be great. We're looking to grow the subscription level for this channel so that there's more people that get a chance to see it. There's more people that I can converse with, and that this whole sort of campaign can grow and people can follow along. That being said, thank you for watching. This was an interesting turn of events. That's 2 in a row. We have the assassin yesterday, and now we have a horde of nomads in the wilderness. So things are getting interesting. Until then, talk to you later. Bye.